Hey guys, welcome back to another What If here. Today we are going to be doing a new What If on the channel here, and it is called, if you haven't read the thumbnail or title, and that is What If Naruto had a twin sister, part 1. And well, let's get into this. No info, as I'll be explaining stuff throughout the What If. In other words, so if something happened, like why this happened, so if this, if a character were to explain it, it would be explained out. Otherwise, how explain it instead. Anyway, let's get into this. So we'd start at the age of the six paths. Hagoromo, you could say, like the start of the ninja world as it's known today. And while he's with the Mount Miyaboku toad or frog, whatever you like to call him. And while he'd say to Hagoromo, well, I had a very weird dream last night. As you'd go, what was it about? You'd go, well, it was like the future, and there was like two girls with red hair, and I think both of them had ears and a tail. One had like blue ears and like half her tail's blue, and the other one had like orange ears and half her tail was orange. Like one looked like a cat and one looked like a fox, but they had red hair. And yeah, and it was like a war going on, and like it was like called like the war to end all wars. And yeah, and he'd like carry on explaining a little bit more. And well, of course, then a couple of days later, or hours later, he would explain it to his children, or what he calls his children. Of course, tail beasts. Of course, all of them, so 1 to 9. As he goes, well, one day far into the future, there will be a twin prophecy. It's like twin prophecy. What do you mean? Two girls will be born. One would be born with red hair and blue ears, and it would be more feline, so more like Matabi here, or like a cat, but with one tail, not two. And another one would be born with the same red hair, but with orange ears and like orange tail, or half orange tail, and she would be a fox, like fox type, so like Kuma, but of course with one tail, not 9. And they are twin sisters, half human. Well, one is half human, half cat, and the other one is half human, half fox. But they're twin sisters. And yeah. And then, of course, years later, we'll cut, years and years into the future. And Junkin would cut, of course, until, well, 2 babies are born to Kushina. One, of course, as I said, one is born, Minato goes, well, it seems like we've got two babies, like 2 baby daughters. One of them has got like blue tipped ears, and their tail is like got like blue, and it's like tipped blue, and another one is like orange tipped ears with an orange tipped tail. And it's like, well, the one that's got blue tipped ears and the tail is definitely like a cat, I guess, or takes more after a cat. And the other one, like the other orange one, is a fox. As he says that, and of course then Obito comes and of course releases Kurama. As of course Kurama kind of, or at least attempts to go on a rampage, but Matatabi manages to kind of wallop him back from the village and just sits on him. Yeah. And well, of course, Obito, then Minato goes to fight Obito, and well, we know that fight ended up with pretty much Obito retreating and Minato like coming back, and Kushina is kind of panting as she thinks, she's gonna die. And well, and of course he takes two children. She goes, no, you can't use them to. So it's like, I'm gonna have to. It's like they could be the twin prophecy, the twin children of prophecy. So even so, Minato, still that's too heavy of a burden for them. So you just have to believe in them. They've got your haircut after all, so who knows, they may take after, hopefully they take after your chakra reserves, and it'll be fine. Trust me. As he takes them as the one that looks more as a fox gets Kurama, and the one more like a cat is has Matatabi sealed inside of her. And mind you, so the main protagonist, on the one that, like the sister that will be replacing Naruto, will be Reue, or the one that's like cat, so the one that has like blue tipped ears and the blue tipped tail. That one. And of course, like the fox one, or the fox sister, will be called Ruby. So yeah, Ruby for like the red hair and that, and like a nice kind of more reddish orange. And yeah, Reue for the red and blue, because like the red hair and the blue ears, the blue tipped ears, which yeah. And well, of course, because he does pass away, but the one thing he does at least say to Matatabi is, look after please look after them, and if Kushina survives, look after her too. To us, of course, Kushina is just she's crying because that was the last time she'd ever see her husband, or at least the last time she'd ever see him alive. So yeah, as she regains just enough strength to kind of go over, as she kind of walks out, as it wasn't that far, like from where Minato dropped her off, and yeah, she picks up the children, and or at least she lays by them, as of course she passes out from the sheer, of course, pain and chakra exhaustion, as it'd be the next day. Yeah, as Kushina wakes up, and as the fellow guy is like, Kushina, it's good that I'm good that you're alive and that you're awake. And she's like, where's my children? Where are they? Where's my babies? Where are they? Who's? And she's like, oh, I just like, whoa, calm down. My wife's looking after me. I want them here now. It's like, but you still, it's like, I want them now. I don't care if you're the third Hokage. If I have to, I will kill you to get them. It's like, okay, I'll bring them here now. As well, yeah, of course, she's, going to be overprotective as it's the last thing Minato's pretty much left her. So, she's going to be quite protective of her children. Anyone would be. So, yeah. And, who's in like brings them back, but he's like almost holding them out because when he went to pick them up in the beginning, Reue tried strangling him to death, as like they don't exactly like being held by anyone else except for their mum or their dad, but their dad's of course dead, so yeah, don't really like being held by their mum. So yeah, as he kind of like put some on Kushina's lap as they just kind of as they just look at her as she just cuddles them and has like just her hands in their hair as she cuddles them as Reue starts to purr. And it's of course like Kushina is almost dying from cuteness. Like she thinks, if I've survived this, will I now die from cuteness? From hearing just a baby purr. Yeah. And and we're been like 4 years into the future. There's nothing exactly exciting happened. Then except for at least the past 4 years, they don't really go outside. Like of course, they do have a giant backyard, so of course they do train in that. It's like being, say, like a week after their birthday, and of course, on their birthday, of course, Kushina did tell them like who their dad was and what they've got, like inside of them. When Ruby has the entire, the full 9 tails. Even though, Reue does have more chakra than Ruby. It's just like, Minato thought, as the one that looks like a cat, Matabu would probably be like a better fit. Mind you, he only knows them by like the 2 tails and 9 tails, but yeah, I'll call them by their names. And he thinks, his daughter that looks like a fox will be, like the 9-tailed fox will be showed in the one that more resembles, a fox. So one is half cat, half human, and the other one's half fox, half human. So yeah. And normally, of course, besides from the no, not even the final Hokage. It was just before Kushina passed out. She pretty much put like a genjutsu over them. Well, not a genjutsu, just a jutsu that hid their ears and tails, so nobody could see them. So if they were to go outside, nobody would see that ears or tail. Yeah. And of course, and Kushina's like, Hokage, could you leave me in private right now? So as she's like, sure. She's like, that's a bit of an odd request, but as he kind of, it's like, as of course he, leaves, and of course shuts the door as she then goes to breastfeed her babies as well. Yeah, they didn't exactly try and eat anything, and even if like and of course even though the third guy's wife, she did try, but they just straight up just didn't accept it. They would pretty much grab it and just throw it away or whack it away. So yeah, because they knew that mum was of course very much alive. If she was dead, then yes, they would have accepted it, but she's alive, so they can breastfeed. So yeah. Anyway, that was of course just when she was in the hospital. But yeah, now of course they're both 4. They both know, and well, yeah, of course Rue's like, so I've got the strongest tailed beast as well. Kushina's like, well, yes, you're kind of right. So what do you mean kind of? Well, like, yeah, it'd be harder for you to control, because obviously it's got more power or more bloodlust, so it'd be hard for you to like control and use its power, whereas Reue here will have an easier time, and well, of course, because it being easier, should be able to master the power of the two tails a lot faster. And yeah, and well, yeah. So then now we'll do another time skip until they're 6. As of course they when they turn 5, they of course learn how to hide their ears and tail, so they can now walk about, and they pretty much the only way people can identify them is generally by the clothes they wear. Ruby's are more kind of more of a girl that wears trousers and that instead of skirts and that, whereas Reue tends prefers to wear skirts, dresses, and even I won't go too far, but yeah, she prefers to wear skirts and that. But when they're on a mission, it is pretty much impossible to know which one's which, as they both pretty much look identical. As I said, the really only way if you're on a mission to tell them apart is if they've got their ears and tails out. Then it'd be quite obvious which one's which. So yeah, and of course Kushina kind of thinks to herself, wait, but if they're both, then she's like, I hope they don't have heat, go into heat or that, because of course, she'd know that of course cats and foxes both go into heat. Of course, cats generally go into heat most times of the year, whereas the fox, I think it's only from March to February, or February to March, or something, February to April, I don't know. Yeah. And she's just thinking, she hopes they don't have that, otherwise it's going to be damn near hard for Reue to go out and do missions when she's in heat and that. So yeah. Well, of course, now they're 6. When they, just a month after they turned 4, they also both awakened the Uzumaki Chakra chains. So they both can use them as well, as Kushina pretty much puts them through a strict routine, a very hard and strict routine that is training from hell. Yeah, but lucky enough, now they're 6, I'd say that Reue can use one tail of Matatabi's, and Ruby can do just about one-tailed. She can get into the cloak, and she can just like barely control herself in the one-tailed cloak form. I mean, she would get better, and performance will increase drastically. Her performance in controlling it. So yeah, and like the. And of course, Kushina has also taught them how to tree walk and water walk already, as of course, like those two both have got monstrous chakra, like chakra reserves. They're just straight like insane how big they are. And yeah, and they of course Kushina would teach them like the kind of what like the academy do, so a transformation jutsu and a shadow clone jutsu. Well, and the like shadow clone, of course, it's only any clone jutsu, but Kushina of course would know, of course, that the like even the Uzumakis generally tend to use like the shadow clone jutsu. They've just got to like they can use all the other types of clones, but they tend to use the shadow clone the most, as well, it's just pure chakra. But yeah, of course, like, well, of course, when they're in school, like they tend to, yeah, when they're like in ninja school, they tend to, of course, use shadow clone. But then once they get their chakra training, then they can use like other types. But yeah, as they also do waterfall walking. Yeah, as it's pretty much only like the Uzumaki clan can do it because of their sheer just chakra reserves, and they'd be they're the only clan that will really benefit from it. As say someone like I forget her name now. What's her name? Tsunade, which has been kind of classed as like the perfect, to have perfect chakra control. But like Tsunade knows, even if she tried to walk on water and she mastered it, the best she could do is maybe hold herself on the waterfall for a good minute or two at most, until she would collapse from chakra exhaustion. Whereas the Uzumaki clan with their huge chakra reserves, and that once they master it, they can generally battle on a waterfall for a good hour or two. And well, if the twin sisters were to be able to master that as well, they would it would boost their chakra control quite significantly. But yeah, and well, of course, Kushina did also check their chakra natures, and well, they've got all 5 chakra natures. And the reason why is she thinks the reason why is that because of of them being kind of hard, she thinks because they're probably half demi-human. She thinks half human, half beast, kind of. So yeah, she thinks that's kind of why. So they're got all the chakra natures and that. And also, of course, she's noticed when they of course turn 6, they learn kind of how to turn into that animal form. So yeah, and also now also as they've been aging, their ears and health slowly been getting more. Well, for say Reue, it's been getting more blue, and for Ruby, it's been getting more a reddish orange type colour. And yeah, so next time skip, and probably our last year time skip for a while, will be up, they're now 12, and it's the day before the Genin exams, the Genin exams. And of course, like their chakra with their tailed beasts are now kind of stabilized. So, like with Reue, like Ryu's ears, her is like half, well, like half blue and half red. So yeah, and of course her tail is like half, like the first half of it is red, and then the other half is like a blue and black flame almost. That's what it looks like. So when she kind of like goes into Matatabi's chakra state, you know, like anyone, if they're not paying attention, like if they have do a quick glance at her tail, it will look like it's actually flames, but it's not. It's just like an optical illusion. Yeah. But yeah, and also Ryu also is mastered like Matatabi's like one-tailed and of course the two-tailed state. So yeah, she can use all her power. And Ruby is now up to 6 tails. As I said, she would speed up her progress. And yeah, she's able to control 6 tails of Kuma's power. And of course, it's like she's slow. Well, not slow. Well, yeah, still slowly getting there. And it's of course like Ruby tends to like, they're both fast, but Ruby tends to like be more in the strength department, where like Ryu is more of like a sensor and speed type ninja. Like they both are fast and they both do hit hard. It's just what they like their like genetics like performance is. So yeah, because cats are generally like, you know, always on high alert, so she tends to have quite good sensory. And also for, of course, Kushina, Kushina is at least a bit happy, and that bit happy comes from the fact that they do have heat, but saying Ruby only has heat, but it's only like 20 days, like it's for like 20 days straight. Then after like the 20 days, she's not in heat until next year. Where Ryu, she's in heat twice a year, once in summer, once in the winter, but she's only in heat for like 7 days. So like a week. So a week for the summer and a week for the winter. So yeah. Which of course drives them insane, because yeah, they can't really do anything during that period of time, because they generally want to almost do it with anything that moves. And just mind you, they're still young, and of course that started when they're around 10 years old. So yeah. And Kushina, of course, Kushina teaches them like some fire style, some water, some earth, and some wind. I think that's it, and some like electrical style jutsu. And like two, of course, both of them. And when one uses fire style, the other one will use wind style. Two, of course, like enhance. They always kind of do the like jutsus that will enhance one another, so they can like take their foes down quicker. Yeah. And also they generally say they're like the best of each year. Yeah. It's like Sasuke's in second, but by a large margin, because he is everyone's tried making really friends with them, but they kind of either either tend to ignore them, or if it's like in Sakra's case, they just don't really like her, as of course, like they'll tolerate her, but they find her annoying a lot of the time, because really all she goes on about is Sasuke and that. And they of course don't really like Sasuke as well. You know, like, he's an Uchiha, and well, their instincts and of course, like their of course tailed beast in general don't really like the Uchiha clan. So yeah, and of course they do have some friends, which is like Choji, Shikamaru, and yeah, like just really those two. They do have some other friends, but yeah, like the entire Rookie 9 are like their friends, but they just tolerate most of them, and they just hate Sasuke. So I should say really the Rookie 8, but yeah. Anyway, also well, yeah, and of course then yeah. Anyway, so yeah, because they'd get home from from school as Kushina. Well, yeah, as Kushina would go, well, how's school and like 4 years today? And it's like, well, our sensei said that Genin exams are tomorrow, so we should like prepare and like practice our jutsu as Kushina kind of goes, well, I think today you can take a rest from your training instead. As they both in their head just like yes, as like they train every day, and of course they're both can both make like over 1 million shadow clones each. So they're both like a one-person army. Yeah. And yeah, as they're just happy, and Kushina can see that they're happy. And it's like, what, do you really hate my training? It's like, well, no, it's just it's hell. Yeah, it's just like, well, it's pretty much just like hell, mum. It's like you put us through hell and back, and well, you don't often give us breaks, so anytime you do, it's certainly like heaven for us. So yeah, and she's like, well, I do understand I've been kind of pushing you. It's like, you think? It's like, we're the strongest in our class by a huge amount, Mum. It's like, no one comes close to us. It's like, I bet we could probably rival like Jonin. It's like, what? So you think you could rival Dryas and like Dry? Well, she'd go like Pervy Sage. It's like, no, I don't think we could rival him. But yeah, because he's of course a lot stronger, and I know there's of course strong foes out there, and of course kind of tends to have quite strong shinobi, but. Yeah, so I don't think you want us to become like S-rank ninjas, like S-rank Genin ninjas straight from the back, do you, Mum? She goes, well, I'm pretty sure in your like beast, in your like tailed beast states, you are S-rank or double S-rank shinobis. As oh well. That's to be expected. As mind you, because they generally don't really walk around much, as they both know as Kushina would have taught them. They had the choice. Both of them had the choice of learning either the Rasengan or the Flying Raijin. For like when they became like 10 years old, they had a choice of that. And mind you, because one could have been like, say, could have had Flying Raijin, one could have had the Rasengan, but they both chose, the flying Raijin. As she, well, I don't think she can do it, but she does at least kind of explain to them, give them Minato's notes on how to do it. As within a month, well, no, say within 3 months of training that they do master it. As Ruby's trying to come up with a style that complements that. As obviously, she's got raw strength, but she lacks in the speed department, so having flying Raijin for her will benefit her. Whereas for, of course, Reue, it will more so just help her to really get around places without destroying. As when she was younger, if she wasn't concentrating where she was going, she would quite easily either break the speed of sound and crash into stuff. As she didn't break stuff like that often, but one time she they were going somewhere with their mum. As Kushina said, we're here, but she didn't say it loud enough. As Reue just continued to go forward, and she then started picking up speed quite quickly. Then of course she broke the speed of the sound, shattering windows as Ruby and Kushina look at each other, and she's like, Mum, shouldn't we go after Reue? As she's like, right, yeah. As they of course try and catch up with her, but she ends up running into a not a construction site, but it looks like a construction site, but they're just deconstructing an old building that's just had its time. As she runs straight into a pillar and pretty much all falls on her pretty much. And she's not dead. She's not dead. As of course Kushina and Ruby arrive, as they're just is she dead? As Reue moves some rubber, and then she kind of gets my head hurts. Why didn't you tell me when we got there to start? It's well, we did, but if you were paying attention or listening, this wouldn't have happened. Look the mess you've done, all the damage. It's gonna take. What will I do with you? And yeah, and of course, for at least a year or two, Mahitabi, any time they were going anywhere, Mahitabi would take control so that she wouldn't destroy anything else. But yeah, she at least now has gotten better, and she doesn't lose herself in her thoughts no more, luckily. But yeah, anyway, and yeah, so Reue does also master the flying friend god, but she also tries getting it faster than, of course, their dad had got it faster than that. Why not? She's just seeing how fast could it possibly go, and also try and make it even less chakra dependent. So yeah, well, yeah, a year into it, she's got it around 3 times the speed of Minato's flying Raijin, so it's a lot faster, and it uses half the chakra it would also. Oh yeah, she's gotten, now with that she can pretty much she It's like, it doesn't really even leave a flash, it's like just a line, it's a streak. Yeah. It's like all the blue flashes, all the blue flashes going on and off, like red and blue flashes on and off very quickly. You kind of make a line, as you could almost trace it from the sky where she's been, as it's literally like a trail, and then it slowly fades away. Well, quickly fades away, not slowly, but yeah. And yeah. And of course, like, they would generally just really talk about what they learnt in school today, and of course, like, and then it'd be dinner, as they would eat and then go to bed. As they would, of course, sleep, and they would wake up the next morning, and of course they would go and they would, of course, do the Genin exams, and well, obviously, like, those two, like, they're, top of the class, of course they would pass, and they'd pass quite easily. As Eureka's like, whoa, you two, you two are, quite good. Like, especially in Shadow Clone Department, as they look at one another, as they say, well, like, almost in unison. It's like, well, Sensei, that's nothing to us. We're like to our mum and to her friend Kakashi. We're known as the one, like, we're both known as the one-person army. Yeah, it's like, as he thinks, how much are you two able to summon? It's like, well, we're both able to summon around 1 million shadow clones each. So if we both, I guess, would team up and do the shadow clones, you would be able to quite easily summon around 2 million shadow clones. As everyone just thinks, oh, that's a lie. It's like, we know you're strong, but that's just overdoing it, don't you think? It's like, well, no, overdoing it would be maybe like pushing all our chakra into the Shadow Clone Jutsu, and that would probably make around 10 million. Like, I don't really know. We've never really tried to make as much as possible. It's like, you never tried. It's like, no, we've just never really tried. We're generally quite exhausted when it comes to our Shadow Clone training and perfecting the jutsu. It's like, but perfecting it's like, well, yeah. It's like, we can do it with one hand. It's like, with most of our jutsus that we've got, we can do it with one hand, because, well, it's better to do it like with one hand in a battle than to try and go through like 100 hand signs with both hands. It's better to do, say, 100 hand signs with one, or even try and get the hand signs down to as less as possible. As he's quite surprised that they, they can do that. Yeah. And he'd go out, meet me here tomorrow for. So you'd know, of course, your team, what team you'd be on, and who'd be your sensei. So yeah, and of course at that time, Kushina would be called in by the Hokage. As she'd go, yes, Hokage, you wanted me? She'd go, yes, Kushina, sit down. It's like, well, of course, your children, both your daughters, have passed the Genin exams, which, well, I wasn't surprised that they were able to, pass. But it's like, what are you going to do? Like, well, it's like, well, I kind of propose, I was thinking, because, you're really the only one besides from me, of course, yeah. I was thinking, why don't you, like, why don't you become their sensei? It's like, why? You want me to become their sensei? It's like, oh, yeah, there's, like, Team 7, like, because there's really, like, no room on any other, like, team, and, well, to me, it'd be smart to keep them, together, and, well, like, you're, like, Jonin rank, and probably even higher, because, she's obviously been training with her daughters, and, yeah, and that, like, all three of them are, like, can take on a tailed beast. Well, say take on maybe like the one tailed by themselves and win. So yeah, they're pretty strong. And yeah, of course that's with all of them like going all out. So they would be tired at the end of it. They'd be quite tired, but they would be able to defeat the like one tailed Shikaku. Yeah, I think that's his name, Shikaku, by themselves, like by themselves. So yeah, and well, Kushina go, well, okay, but if it's just, if I'm gonna be on a team, like, with my two daughters, I should go, well, don't worry, they'd be, like, you and your team would also, say, help out, like, any other team, like, when it needs, like, when they, of course, need, say, backup in one of their missions. So it's like if like a say C rank turn A rank, for example, you like I would send yous out as you're probably like the strongest. Well, yous definitely are the strongest Genin team out there. It's like, well, of course that's if you want to be the Genin leader. And she's like, oh yeah, of course. If you're giving me, the option, you're like, yeah, of course, I'd love to, be there. I'd love to, of course, be able to be with them. It's like, good. Then from like tomorrow onwards, because that's when they'd be meeting up with their, like Jonin Sensei, and they'd probably be quite surprised to, of course, see you, like and especially in your, like in armor, like especially, because like you haven't really, like, done any missions in quite a while since I think I think the last time you did a mission was back when, like, in your childhood, wasn't it? When you was like a Genin. So yeah, that was because, well, like before I'm Minato. So yeah. And like, yeah, so of course they'd get home and you, and also she'd know who would be, like, say on Team 7, which would be obviously Sasuke, Sakura, and I don't know, it's like, I would say like a random boy. I don't know, guys, tell me down below what name you want me to name that boy, but he's like, yeah. He'd, of course, like, well, yeah, he would be the dead last of the class. But yeah, as of course he'd be, well, yeah. Anyway, nah, I'm not going there. I was thinking about it, but yeah. And of course, the next day would roll around as, Reue and Ruby are, quite excited, that, well, as they, walk to school, they're like, well, I hope we're, like, well, yeah, Reue would say, I hope I'm on the same team as you, sis, as we would go, well, I hope so too, as it'd be quite nice. It's like, well, generally we're, like, on, like, we're on, like, a three-man team, so, but it's like, I don't really think there's that many people. I think we may be split up into like 2 other teams or 4. It's just like, well, I hope not. But yeah, Well, yeah, as like they'd get there as everyone would arrive, then Iruka would come and go, I see you all here, that, passed. As then he'd, start, calling out the teams, as he'd go, he'd reach team, sound as he would say, Chakra, how, now the people would be on team set, like, the people that will be on team sound will be, Sakura, Haruno, Sasuke, Uchiha, and the person that you guys can tell me, like, name the, down in the comments down below. And it's like four, no, and so you'd continue, and like, as they look at one another, it's like, well, we're definitely on the team, but just us, as you'd go by. Team 11 will be, Ryu Uzumaki and Ryu Uzumaki and Ruby Uzumaki, and your Jonin teacher. As mind you, all the Jonin teachers have already picked up. There's besides from Kakashi, who will actually come in with Kushina, and your Jonin teacher will be Kushina Uzumaki, as they just look at one another and they're just like, Mum's a Jonin teacher? As they're just like surprised. Like they didn't think, it was the last person they thought that would be their Jonin teacher. Yeah, but they're all, alright with it. Of course, the benefit they got from having their mum as their Jonin teacher is that, of course, they could, show that is and tell. If they're, on if they're, find someone or deliver this, they could, show that is and tells, because they'd be around, nobody around, so, yeah. Yeah, and of course for spying and that, of course, Ryu and Ruby, quite easily, because they could transform into their animal forms, which they got when they turned 6. So yeah, of course, yeah. Because the one thing that, of course, Ruby does, not Ruby, Ryu, of course, likes to do the most is sleep. Besides from, of course, playing with her sister, she likes to sleep. Yeah. Yeah. That's probably the one thing she does, probably the most, besides from train, is sleep. As cats, cats like to sleep a lot. But yeah. Of course, the one upside means she tends to have quite a lot of energy. Yeah. Yeah. As, of course, as Kushina and Kakashi would walk in, as they're like, well, as of course, Ryu and Ruby are just looking hi there, Sensei, what do we call you now? She's well, when we're on missions, you'll call me Sensei, but when we're, at home, you can call me Mum. It's okay. Yeah. It's you just don't send that through. It's well, we are. It's just surprising that you are Sensei. It's to be honest, I thought, we'd have Kakashi or even Pervy Sage. It's well, Pervy Sage probably would have been the last person that, I would have allowed the Okage have your Sensei be. So I go, oh, I guess that makes sense. He is a pervert. And or I just like crying. I just really like crying, and especially you. You know, I understand that, especially if, you know, from Mum writing about you. It's like, well, what do you mean, Ruby? It's like, well, you tend to be more revealing compared to me and Mum. You tend to be more revealing. So I can't help it, sometimes, but it's like, well, you know, I'm just saying, you're more revealing compared to me and Mum. Yeah. It's like, this kid's not going to go around to say who. At least she lets me play, at least she likes being dressed up and that. Yeah. I've seen Evan Cash, is just like, God. It's like, well, I don't like being dressed up as a doll. Yeah, that's why I'm gonna end it here, guys. So if you guys have enjoyed this, like, if you enjoyed it so much and you want to see more like this, subscribe. And if you guys are curious, yes, what if Naruto was a girl / streamer will be out, will still be out tomorrow, which is Friday. It would still be out tomorrow, so when you guys that vote for that, you don't have to panic, it will still be out then. And yeah, anyway, also guys, check the community tab, because I'll probably have one out for like Monday. So like, what if would you like Monday? I don't know, it would either be uploaded today, you know, like it would be either on, like, the poll be either on the community tab like today after this, what if, or tomorrow. I'm not quite sure, probably tomorrow. So yeah, anyway guys, if you have enjoyed this challenge and want to see more just like this, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next. Oh yes, I keep on stopping the outro. And also, thank you guys, I should have said this in the beginning, but thank you guys for getting me to 600 subscribers. And yeah, anyway, so from that, also I guess technically you could say this was like, 600 sub special, I don't know, but anyway, let's try this one more time, because I don't think I've got nothing more to say. I don't think so. So yeah, if you guys have enjoyed this, like, if you enjoyed it so much and you want to see more just like this, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and I'll see you guys in the next What If video. And hey, good bye.